we'll go from there. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining me today. My name is Gabriel Brent, and we have the lovely Michelle Hurlbut with us that will be talking about trading psychology, and she is a trading coach. And if you guys have not met Michelle yet, I really think you should. She is a wonderful person, and I have nothing but the highest regard for her. So, and she's helped me out with my issues as well in this endeavor we call trading. So, um, hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions today as we look at the Apazone software and trading in general, and understanding why the market is doing what the market's doing. So, let's go ahead and get into things. All right. So. Where I would like to first start off with is by answering any questions that anybody has in general about the software. And it doesn't look like we've had any from the pre-meeting, the pre-meeting questions and little time that we spent together pre-meeting. But let's get into some of the meat of things. I am a programmer and developer of all the software that you see on my charts. And because I am the programmer slash developer, we are currently making changes to the software to make it that much better. Okay. Now, what I would like to share with you guys is how we are doing that. All right. And one of the big things that you'll see changes in is in the generations package. I am planning to come out with an Apazones 4, which I won't get into too much detail there right now. But inside the generations package, with the MTF multiple time frame tool, which I recommend everybody use just because it saves so much chart space and time in looking at your charts. And screen real estate. But we can actually come in here and we can see, like on this 500 tick chart that I have active, I can see all my 150 tick zones, And these 150 tick zones are just support and resistance, but it's really cool to see support and resistance play out on your charts. So we have an idea why price is bouncing where it's bouncing, on the intra-minute level, so to speak, So that's really nifty to see. And then we can also look at it on the big time frames, and we can say, oh, well, the reason why it's bouncing up here is because of blah, 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 Or where do we think price might go? Well, if the 60-minute demand zone is down there and a 60-minute supply zone is in between these two numbers right here on my chart, I think price is going to go higher, Now, something just so you know, in my analysis that I do look at is looking at the 60-minute time frames. Let me go ahead and turn off my zones over here. But you see, this is a 15-minute chart, and this is a 500 tick chart. And you see the 60M on both of these deals. Now, on the 15-minute chart, this thing is set to regular trading hours, and this is set to extended trading hours. So that includes all the Globex price movements, all right? We can see with these red lines and green lines the Globex high and low levels, all right, and all the price action that happened during the Globex session, and then when the market actually opens, then those lines stay solid, and just project over to the right-hand side for the rest of the day. And you can see how this thing has acted as like a little support and resistance type area, like kind of coming back and forth on it, But all in all, like, we're able to stay above this level here pretty easily, And because we're able to stay above it, we would really say that today is an uptrend day. That's how I look at it. But looking at the 15-minute chart, we just showed I just showed you like we have a 60-minute level on here, but on uh, the 15-minute chart, which is set to regular trading hours only, the 60-minute actually starts right in here. Okay, so the two 60-minute levels are actually a little bit different, but this 60-minute level does help us define, like, wait, price found resistance up here because it was hitting like the 60-minute level, and then it's like kind of come down off of it, so that should not be a surprise to us at all. And hopefully will enhance your analysis of the market by using regular trading hours and extended trading hours together. So a lot of times you will see these levels, even the 60-minute zones, acting as support and resistance. So it's actually pretty amazing how that works. But there was a 60-minute supply zone right around in here. If I draw this over here, and the bottom of this price action was like the bottom of a 60-minute supply zone. So price was actually using that 60-minute level to find support off of it, even though it was the wrong type of zone. That's where the bottom of that thing was, and it was just staying inside the 60-minute level, and then finally busted it. So stuff like that will happen all the time, and now that we can have now that I did this little addition to the multiple time frame tool, you will be able to easily see what multiple time frame you have loaded. So we know that this Apazones MTF is a 60-minute, and this is a 15-minute. If I wanted to change this to a 5 minutes, I just go to 5 and M, and select the minute deal, and then it loads all the 5-minute zones on the chart for that multiple time frame. And I just think that's really, really helpful in general, just for us to be able to see all those different multiple time frame zones, depending on who you are and what time frames you like to watch. It's just a really great little deal that you can do by that. And because you can show and hide all those zones, it just makes everything very, very clean, hopefully. So if you don't want to see the zones off of the active time frame, no problem. Just show them, or just hide them, and just look at the 5-minute levels, or the 60-minute levels, if that helps you, So that's the kind of stuff that I'm really looking for here, and hopefully that does help a little bit. But as far as technically using the software, this little addition to where we actually define the minute time frames, that will be coming out here hopefully a little later on today. I'm going to be redoing the Generations package on the website, and I'm going to be sending out a little email blast to all members, letting everybody know that there's a new download available off the website. I do want to make sure that I test it a little bit more before I send it out to everyone, but it should work. So that will hopefully help. And it's kind of like one of those 0.5 releases, I guess you could say, as still working on Apazones 4 as well. But anyway, let's get into actually reading the bars and some of the price action and some of the stuff like that. Actually, I should wait on that a little bit. Right now, I'd actually like to have Michelle maybe come on board here, and Michelle, are you there, Michelle?
I am. Hello, Gabriel.
Hi.
That was a very nice introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm just speaking the truth. So, just speaking the truth. But do you have any presentation slides or anything like that you planned out, or not?
No, I didn't plan on any presentations.
Okay.
I thought we'd just kind of talk about the different things. So you've been talking a lot about price action and the zones, and that is the zones and apozones and supply and demand, they're all very important technical features of trading. Without them, we wouldn't have an idea of where things could change and where they could go. And in that, we need the technical part of it. The other side that we need is the emotional part of it. We need the psychological part in order to be able to take the trade that we see setting up. And you've expressed to me, along with a lot of other people have expressed to me, that you've seen people that have difficulties with that. And we've all experienced the difficulties with, okay, I see this in the apozone, I see what I'm looking for, I just can't pull the trigger. And that's the psychological or the emotional block that comes also with trading. So not only do we need to learn the technical aspects, we also need to recondition some of our emotional inner workings in order to be able to be successful traders. And so I thought, we could touch on that a little bit and how that affects all of us, how it affects all of us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I can chime in at any point within the thing, or I can just do a little blurb and ask anybody or ask everyone if they have any questions with regards to any kind of the emotional or psychological portions of trading. And we can take a topic and go from there.
Yeah, so guys, if you want to just write it down in the little questions tab there, and we'll be addressing those questions and those setups, because I would really say that 80% of trading is emotional, and dealing with your head issues, and 20% is technicals. But obviously, it takes a while to get a hold of the technicals and to get your edge built right and all that kind of stuff. But it is it's very, very hard sometimes to realize that the emotional state that you are in affects the mental, your technicals more than you may realize. I know that like Monday I had 2 losses first thing Monday morning, and I was like, oh man, but like, don't let that, how do you not let that affect you emotionally, because every single loss in my mind affects a person in one way or another. And so coming out of Monday morning, having 2 losses out of the gate, it stinks. But, not letting that affect the 3rd trade setup when it comes, or the 4th or the 5th trade, as long as that meets within your time and within your plan and stuff like that. And not letting it get into your mind, well, I was wrong on the long setup, so if I should only be looking short, or not being able to pull the trigger long on the 2nd time, or a lot of times counter trending, so.
Gabriel, if I can say something about that. That's a very good thing right there. Having 2 losses right out of the gate on any day, especially possibly the beginning of the week, the first trading day of the week, that can set a lot of precedents for how somebody's going to feel or how they're going to look at things later on. And part of the things that we do to get over that kind of stuff is to know our trade plan, know exactly how we're going to approach the market and approach each trade. And that comes with practice, practice, and more practice. Market replay, hard right edge, going over things over and over and over again, and practicing and being positive about your trade plan, your entries, your ability to evaluate the market. In the beginning with learning trading, it's not a terribly easy thing to learn. But just like anything else is not an easy thing to learn. When we first learned how to write, when we were 4 and 5 and 6 years old, it wasn't easy for us at that time. And we practiced and we practiced. Same thing with learning to trade. You, just like any other career, you go to school basically. And they don't have formal schools for training. They have some technical schools for training, but that's only, maybe a couple of weeks long. How do you learn a skill in a couple of weeks that you're going to be able to support yourself on? So it's all about taking that extra time above and beyond whatever training you may get, formal or informal, and practicing your trade plan over and over again, and knowing in your bones, in your soul, in your subconscious, that your trade plan works. And once you know that, then getting over those hiccups that happen, like the losing of 2 trades in the beginning, stepping away from your desk for a moment to kind of shake off that little bit of angst going on, and reminding yourself that your trade plan is solid, and then coming back to the market and taking that 3rd and 4th trade as they set up, like they would set up before, that's when you've taken the emotions out of the trading. That's when you've realized it's just a skill. It's a skill I've learned, and sometimes that skill doesn't work. Most of the time it does. And that's how I make my living.
I think that's really, really good, we actually do have a couple questions. I don't know if you can see those or not, Michelle.
I cannot.
Okay. Let me try a couple things here. But the first question that we have is, what is the most common issues that traders face, and how do you help solve those issues?
The most common issues are fear and greed, and they go hand in hand. And we're greedy to keep our gains. So we tend to do things like, 1, not take the proper setups, or 2, move our stops or our targets outside of our trade plan parameters. And when we start doing things like that, it snowballs. It tends to snowball. Because you don't know when the right time is to move it and when it's not. You're not following your plan. You're not following the things. You're following your emotions instead. How do you overcome those? One of the things you do to overcome them is to practice, and more practice. And then there's also the neurolinguistics way to overcome these kinds of emotional breakthroughs or emotional barriers. And that has to do with neurolinguistics programming, which is the conscious and the language of the unconscious mind, and going in there and kind of reprogramming it like you would a computer, let's say, and tweaking it so that it works for you better now than it did before. Not completely changing it or anything like that, but going in there and tweaking it a little bit, putting in a couple extra codes that you forgot about before, and makes the program run so much better. Those are, one is much more in depth with regards to the mind and how the mind works, and then the other one is the technical aspect. So that's kind of different ways. Now, as an individual person, short of like coming to see me or something like that, the things you can do is reinforce all your positive trades. So, and I don't mean the trades that win. I mean the trades that you took exactly as planned. So you can reinforce them with a couple of things. One is like the Staples easy button. I happen to have an easy button sitting on my desk. And whenever I make a trade that followed my plan, I push the easy button. Now, do all my trades win? No. But if I followed my plan, I push the easy button. That's a reinforcement of the positive behavior. We all know about reinforcing positive behavior. Another thing is just keep practicing until you, and look back. You need to keep track. Not only do you need to practice, but you need to keep track of what you've practiced so that you have statistics over time that prove to you That's a hardline proof to you that you know what you're doing. And in the beginning, you won't feel that way. Over time, you will. And then you'll forget about all the bad things that you did before.
So that kind of brings us to the next question, in all that practicing and stuff like that, you may experience some over trading, where you're just constantly getting in and getting out type of thing. What would you say to somebody that's over trading?
Well, at that point, you're not practicing. You're just being a cowboy. Because your trade plan most likely does not tell you to get in and get out at all those places, right? So you're not practicing. You're just going willy-nilly based on whatever you feel like doing at the moment because it might look good for whatever reasons you've justified. And we can justify a long or a short in our mind every single candle, every single minute. Our brains can justify it very easily. Well, this candle looks like this, so I'm going to take it this way. Or I see it bobbing up and down like this while it's forming, so I'm going to take it this way. That's not your trade plan. What does your trade plan say? What is the tried and true method? Now, in APOZones, our trade plans would say it needs to hit a zone of confluence with another zone and be in a good area and have maybe some other confluence with it, whether it be a trend line or whether it be a Bollinger Band that you've put on or whether it be the pivots that are on the charts. There needs to be some kind of a confluence and possibly candle action. I know Gabriel's very big on what does the candle look like when it's done. Price action. What does it look like? He doesn't take a lot of his trades, even with confluence of several zones, until he gets the price action candles that he's looking for. And if he doesn't get it and it still goes in the direction he thought it was, it doesn't matter because it wasn't his trade. It's not his trade plan. That's not what he has done tried and true. So if you're trading, if you're getting in and out and in and out, that's not a trade plan. That's not trading. That's being a cowboy. And getting a trade plan is what I would tell you to do. And what I would work with you on doing.
I think that's really good advice. Because just looking at my my career and my journey down this crazy career path of trading, things do change over time. The markets don't stay in the same volatility. Like right now, we're experiencing greater volatility as Michelle and I saw earlier on the NQ. Like, wow, like it was really ripping and roaring, quite strong. But if you have something like I've been watching zones for several years now, and those principles, I know it's really cliche, but it's just simple support and resistance. For all lack of better terms, it's just a support and resistance applied over time, that's what makes this stuff really work. It's not hard concepts in general, but being able to make a trade plan that's simple enough for you to execute every single time without question, it is challenging, and something that you can take in and day out, and not wanting to move your stops, not wanting to play it safe, or whatever you decide for your rules, where you're like, oh, well, wow, I've had a really good move up, do I take all my profits now, or do I stick to my rules and let my runners run, that kind of stuff. It's very, very challenging, and to be real honest with you, sometimes you still do have those technical, mess ups, where you think you're doing one thing and you accidentally click on something else, and you think you're going long, but you accidentally hit the short button. It happens.
Yeah, the technical mess-ups, those happen all the time. More frequently, obviously, than we'd like them to happen. The mess-ups that we can, and we can't always control those, the mess-ups that we can control are emotional mess-ups.
Right. And
Right.
mastering those is really, really challenging, and I think it takes a lot of humility. I think that's what's really helped me the most is being able to say, you know what, I was wrong, and I should change my ways, um, so, but you know what, that's just my personal thinking and my personal journey. So humility is probably one of those things that you probably don't hear a lot of in the trading world, but I think it's very important. Of course, I could be completely wrong, Michelle. And
no, humility's a good thing. You've got to realize that you cannot control the market at all. You cannot make it go your direction like you can a person that you're influencing, like a child or an employee or something like that. Markets, we can't force it to get ready for school earlier than it's getting ready. It's not going to get ready for a change before it's ready for the change, no matter how much we like it. And that's the importance of having the patience to wait for your trade to set up, and then taking it. And do veteran traders mess up and mess with their rules once in a while on a trade? Yeah, they do. Emotions get all of us because we are human. We are emotional beings. We cannot be computers, and that's a good thing. The goal is to have them not change your trading style more often. So then you can keep the emotions out of them, out of the trading more often, and be able to trade your plan more like a computer than like an emotional being or willy-nilly, just because you think it's going to go some way, without the confirmed proof. And that's the goal to trading. You do that with your trade plan that you've already proven is successful, and you're on your way. My biggest thing that I run into, I think, is that people expect it to happen overnight. They expect to be successful in trading overnight. And so when they're not, they get very upset about it, and that's when they allow their emotions to take over. We've been sold this thing through the media that you can become an overnight millionaire if you just make the right trade. And of course, we all want to be overnight millionaires, right? We all want to quit our jobs. We all want to go on that wonderful vacation and have nothing to worry about, but where am I going to go next on vacation? And that just is not reality. It's a fantasy. And there have been one or two or three people that have actually been able to make that fantasy their reality, but the average person, it's not. It's time in front of the screens of designing your trade plan, understanding support and resistance, and understanding what makes us a successful trade, and then understanding your emotions and how they deal with that.
I think that's really good stuff right there. And if anybody would like to see my trade plan as well as another individual's trade plan who's based off of mine in their understanding of what I'm doing, I really like to keep things simple. But, my experience has been definitely more of what Michelle has just talked about. It's not an overnight success story. there's it feels more like a day job, you know, than anything else. You know, even though I see a lot of green days, it still is work every single day. Um, and I feel like I have things down pretty well now, but there's always room to grow. You know, I'm still not a master of this thing. I really wish I was, but it's something that I know personally I'm still striving for. So I hope that this speaks to some people, and I'm going to grab the trade plans here. If you guys would like to see my trade plan, I think that would be pretty cool. Just at least, well, I think maybe some of you might find it pretty cool, and maybe it'll inspire some people as well. So those are those two links there in our little chat window are the links to the trade plans. They're on Google Docs. So anybody with those links can view the trade plans if you would like to see those. So hope they're a little bit of inspiration is the idea behind this. But if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask. You know, I want this thing to I want Apizones to be as helpful as possible, and hopefully we can encourage each other to hit the next level. You know, I know if you guys are watching the Apizone Skype room, I have a couple little competitions in there with some different people here and there. You know, like today I was bantering back and forth with one of the members on what time that they were done by. You know. So that's been going on for a couple days, and you know, just trying to inspire each other. But hopefully this stuff does help. I'm not seeing a whole lot of more questions as far as the psychology stuff goes. So if anybody has any technical questions, or if you look over those trade plans and want to ask some questions there, please feel free. I really feel like this time is set aside for us to really help each other and hopefully inspire a community type of deal. So that's what we're looking for. Hold on one second here. So I had a personal question real quick that I had to answer. Anyway, are there any other questions at this point that people would like to discuss, or if you have any questions about the software or its application, please feel free to ask. Again, with ApiGenerations, we'll be coming out with a little modification there. We've also been asked to make it available for you to only see one supplier demand zone per side. So that'll be coming out in a little patch, or I may wait until Apizones 4 is released for that. And I hope that is helpful for those people that have requested that. And if you like that idea, if you would just say a little yes in the questions box, that would confirm that as well. We'll have a question here. What am I using 150 tick for? This is just bare bones SR, just really quick SR. That's all. If you're familiar with the concepts of rally-based rallies and drop-based drops, they identify those on a 500 tick chart for us. So that's what that's used for. So you can see like we had a rally, and then it bases right around in here, and then it rallies some more. So then we're really not surprised that price is finding support down here later on. So hopefully that answers that question. But you can see we also have another drop, and then it bases right in there and drops some more. So that's what the multiple time frames are used for. And it just so happens that this zone is roughly around the body of that candle right there, for whatever reason, and it works out really well. You will see a lot of those. This one, this 150 tick zone down here happens to be bigger and was pretty much like the low of the, well, nope, I take that back. Well, yeah, it was technically the low of the day, on that candle right there, I think. So that was another rally, base rally type of deal, and you can see all the times that price hit that thing. So just SR type of things. Yeah, if you want to use them for good potential first targets, those are really good levels to watch. Extremely good, I think. Especially on crude. But again, I'm just trading crude right now, so I'm not trading any other markets, and doing just fine on it. So, but just started playing around with this 150 tick just a few days ago, just for the heck of it, and kind of like it, And that's the cool thing too. If I wanted to put like 5 or 6 different multiple time frames up here, I totally can, and I can still trade from 2 charts, but I'm using the resources of like 7 charts, So it's a real big space saver for me, and just extremely powerful. So I hope today has been helpful. I don't really see a whole lot of other questions going on, so I think we'll kind of conclude today by saying today was a psychology day. And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to look up Michelle on the Apizones in the Apizone Skype room, or check out her websites. It's called tradersbreakthrough.com, and here is her website. And there's a lovely picture of Michelle, and you can see her blog and all her different stuff there. We've actually partnered together for quite some time now, so we have some of her blog stuff on our blog as well, as far as dealing with the mental side of trading. So feel free to check out the Apizones blog, and you'll see some of her better articles on there. I love that, Michelle. Anyway, so this is her website, and please feel free to contact her if you have any other questions in those regards, or if you guys want to just start up a conversation with her in the Apizone Skype room, do that too. More than happy to do that, and to spur that type of stuff.
I'm open to any questions anybody has.
There. So, but I think I'll be closing down the webinar now, and I hope everybody has had a great day and a successful day, and we will talk to everyone later. So,
bye.